Welcome to Love Your Coaching. I'm Charlie, and today we're going to look at the middle stage of a coaching session. We have a four-part coaching structure that we call the TEDA structure, T-E-D-A. And today we're going to look at the two middle staging, the exploring stage and the developing stage. All the coaching demo videos that we have on our demo video playlist tend to use this type of structure in the middle. So be able to watch any of those and be able to see what happens in the middle stage. Let's look at the overall structure and then we'll get into those two middle stages. As you may have seen from our previous video on the TEDA structure, it runs through four stages. The first stage being the topic stage, where we find out what topic our coachee wants to work on, perhaps what outcome they want to achieve by the end of this session, and how they're feeling about this topic. We then nicely move into the exploring stage. What the exploring stage allows us to do is to find out all the facts, some of the feelings, what's going on, and holding back from moving towards solutions. A good amount of time to just lay all the issue out on the table. After that, then the coachee is often ready to move to what we call the developing stage, which is a really good opportunity for them to start seeing growth, change, difference, opportunity. And the exploring stage is the thing that allows them to move towards this developing stage. And when we get out of the developing stage, then as we move towards the end, we've got the opportunity to think about some next steps, some actions, some learning. So we've spent a long time on other videos talking in great depth about the topic stage and about the action stage. So for this video, we really want to focus on these two middle stages. The way I see it, we can use these stages in a really rich way, slightly overlapping, but mostly with a discrete purpose. So let's look at each of the stages. Firstly, let's look at this exploring stage. This is what we're trying to achieve with the exploring stage. We've got the topic. We know what they want to work on. We know where they want to be roughly at the end of the session. So now is the opportunity to say what's going on here, to have them find out and explore and share what it is about this topic that they want to work through. We are keeping well away from solutions. We are keeping well away from next steps or what can you do. Because if they knew that at this stage, they wouldn't need coaching. They don't know it just yet. So we need to get everything on the table. So this is why I say this is to find out where the coachee's at and a bit of background. We can never slavishly work through a list of set questions, I think, for this stage. I just don't think that's possible. I think it depends entirely on what the coachee says. So look at these as a bit of a menu of options. TED, tell me, explain, describe, so you can ask any of those questions to find out a bit of the background of the situation. Finding about the impact, all of this stuff, what's going on, how is it affecting you, how is it impacting you? Could be a positive thing. Perhaps ask for some big picture reflections. What do they observe? What do they notice about this situation that is of interest and importance? A little bit of pushing on, a little bit of thinking about what they could do to be able to resolve this issue or to develop this issue. Remembering it might be a positive issue as well as being a negative one. If we get to this stage, then it's going to be really clear that they are going to want to work on it. But still, before we push towards anything that is going to be about change, let's find out what they've done so far. They may well have done nothing so far. They may well have just brought the topic, and this may be the first step to talking about it. Or they might have done absolutely loads, and they're still not quite ready to resolve it. So finding out what they've done so far is super duper important. I'm sure you'll think of other questions, and we can have some very simple questions, qua questions. You'll see a video we've made about qua questioning approaches. It might be that approach. There might be lots of those tell me more, what's going on, what's happening type of things. But the idea is this exploring stage lets the coachee really find out and really map everything out. If you like a little metaphor, my favourite metaphor around this is the coming home from the supermarket metaphor. You come in from the supermarket, you've got all of your shopping bags, and most people just put the shopping away in the cupboard. But with my little metaphor, you don't. You put all the shopping on the kitchen table, and you look at it, and you see you have got food, you've got cleaning materials, you've got dry food, you've got fridge food, and you can see everything all the way out there, ready to put it away. That's what the exploring stage does. It puts everything on the kitchen table. You don't have to actually put it on the kitchen table. Don't try that at home. Enough on the exploring stage. Let's look at the developing stage. When all of that kitchen table stuff is there, when it's all out there, the coachee will feel a certain way. They might feel resolved to sort this out. They might feel a bit despondent because it might be a bit troublesome. But certainly they're likely to be ready to start to change. So now the developing stage is about pushing on, helping them become aware of what they could do. We're still not asking solution questions. We're still not saying, so what could you do about this? We still want to push in a bit more and find out a bit more. So another few questions, a few question types you could ask. We could ask something reflective, asking them to just turn back a bit and think about what they've learned or what they are noticing as they get involved in this conversation. It's good to start thinking about change. And often when we ask this question about what change needs to happen, they often think about change from other people or change in an action perhaps, or change in circumstances. But we can also ask, what changes do they need? Changes in perhaps their thinking, their belief, their attitude. Clearly, we need to ask that question with a bit of sensitivity. But also we could start thinking and asking them about what's fresh, what's new, what's possible. How can they start seeing that there could be growth and development? And I really like the idea that we sometimes ask what we can call a strengths-based question. What have they got? What are they good at in order to be able to resolve this? We want as coaches to have an assumption that our coaches can not only come up with the ideas, but they can also carry them out. So asking about their strengths is really important. And then as we get towards the end of this stage, we could then say, where are they at? Are you near towards coming up with some sort of answer? You may have seen some answers emerging in this developing stage. You may not, but you may have done so. So there are a whole bunch of developing stage questions. If we go back to my shopping metaphor, now everything is packed away in the cupboard. Maybe a few things still lying around, but most of it is packed away in the cupboard. By the time we get to the end of this stage, time-wise and growth-wise, we're probably ready to move to that final stage, that action stage. Even if it's not obvious what the actions are going to be, it's still worth moving to that stage, partly because you have to from a time perspective, but partly because we can trust our coachee that they will have come up with ideas and answers through these last few minutes. So that is the exploring and the developing stage with a few question prompts, a few ideas, a few thoughts. It's not as neat as the way that I've explained it. Quite often we'll ask maybe only a few questions and we'll get things that cover both exploring and developing stages. But trying to keep those two stages relatively discrete is really helpful. My big rules of thumb are: don't ask solution questions in the exploring stage. Don't try to push them on to resolve the issue. And don't make any assumptions in the developing stage that a solution is obvious. Let them come to their conclusions. I hope you found this useful. I hope you found this interesting. You will have your own favourite questions, and you will notice that good questions will emerge and will occur to you as you go through those stages. I would encourage you to go and watch the TEDA demonstration videos on our demo playlist on this YouTube channel. You can see how we're using some of those questions using those two different stages, and really don't worry if they overlap a bit. That's not so important. I hope this goes well. I hope it has some meaning for you with your coaching and for your coachees. Good luck with it all. Have a good day and happy coaching.